Grumpus Compass? Oh my goodness. So it's Sunday. I am staying home because I'm just exhausted from this whole past week. Last week's focus was on calendar stuff, and I really wanted to get as much of that done as possible. A little nervous about it because, again, like a lot of the elements in this calendar are photographed instead of scanned this time, so I usually order from Catprint to do the calendar things, and I'm probably going to stick with that to be consistent. And because shipping is so expensive, like shipping is crazy, I like to kind of get as much out of it as I can. So I don't know if I want to get new prints or anything because I haven't been able to do any in-person shows. So yeah, I've just been like spending the weekend prepping files pretty much. Like this whole past week is just prepping files for print media. The little sketchbook with the cat that I did camping, I really like it. I think that one is just like this cute little cohesive art piece, and I'd really like to make a couple of copies of that in full color. So that is my focus, secondary focus today. First focus is Patreon. Secondary focus is trying to get that, something like that, ready for tomorrow. It's so many things, and I don't know if any of them are worth doing, but yeah. I just want y'all to see this absolute nightmare project I gave myself. The coolest thing about this one, I think, is the vellum pages. I love when publications have these interesting papers in them, and like books that have like envelopes and slips and weird little props and stuff in them. They're so cool. Here's the problem. Okay, so that means I had to build my book around these vellum pages. Seems like a no-brainer, right? The end of this comes out somewhere else, so I can just print these separately and just slip them in when I'm binding. Except I was trying to make it like a regular zine, where the pages just fold like this. And I did this twice. I spent a long time just getting to this part. That's when I realized that I did it incorrectly, because the way that this book is already bound, it's got 3 signatures. So, if I tried to change from 3 signatures to just 1 signature, the vellum pages are not going to be where they're supposed to be. Like this, wherever the end of this page comes out is going to be some other page that's not a vellum page. I created an impossible project. You know, if you're a creative person, you do stuff and you get to a point where you spent so much time on something, you realize it's not going to work. And there's a split second where you're just like, forget it. I'm not going to make this. I reluctantly made up a sample zine using 3 signatures. I just have to bind them in an annoying way in order for this to work. But other than that, I printed out a copy on my printer that looks bad and only prints red and blue for some reason. So here's what the zine looks like with ugly borders, bad quality, and only with blue and red in it. But it could work. So if I had the vellum pages, which I don't, I would slip them in here. And so there would be a nice little vellum page. And it just continues as normal. Some of these pages that were extra small are blown up now, like this. Extra big. This could use a little bit of tweaking. Proper cover of some kind. That would look like that. And wish me luck. Not much to report to today. Just finishing up on the this guy that you've probably already seen. And I also did this silly, I took a couple of photographs and I ripped the back off of them so that all I had was like the thin film, and pasted it in this sketchbook, but I did it so badly. Like, look at this framing. but I painted over it for fun. I did find vellum, my printing order for the calendar and the little booklets that I really wanted to make. They are hurtling towards me at like 100 kilometers an hour, so I can technically print on vellum myself, so I'm going to give it a try depending on how the fusing goes, because I think this laser printer's on its way out, so I don't know if it's going to work, but I'd like to try one time and see. I'm hoping it works, because vellum is cool. I tried it printing a few of the vellum pages, and it's mostly successful. It's not the worst. It's not good, but some of them are good. I'd say most of them are good. So now I'm just eagerly awaiting the arrival of the real pages. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be kind of like, but it'll look really cool. Just finished this Dougie. Think it's alright. I think I totally nailed the skyline though. I think I was a little nervous about it, but I actually really do like doing cityscapes sometimes in wood grain, you know. Otherwise, mostly just chillin'. I want to send out many thanks to amusing username Large Intestine. I had a cute little art piece that I'm super freaking proud of for the Art for Animals thing for September, but it's already sold before September even started, but that's okay. I'm still sending the donation, so that's $100 to the BCSBCA to help, you know, lost and displaced pets, especially now that we have all these fires. Yeah, but it has created this really awkward situation where I don't actually have anything to post up in the vet office. So, like, do I just not show up? I don't know. I think maybe they're just gonna have to hold on to whatever I gave them for a little bit longer. I was really hoping to get the cat print package in this week. Went through customs on like August 24th or something and is now on its way here. But then I got an email saying that actually today it's gone through customs and is now on its way. So I'm like, I started with these squares. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with them. And I think this is kind of cute. It's a little bit more almost Halloween than I wanted it to be, but the only thing about this painting is that it doesn't really feel quite like my work. I drew it and I painted it, but in a way it almost kind of feels like somebody else's work. And I think that's what I meant when I was saying before that I feel pressured a lot to kind of stick with watercolor stuff, because when I do something like this, like it's fun. I like it and I made it, but in my mind, I'm feeling like this isn't really my work. But then whose is it, right? I can't paint with watercolor on the wood. It would have to be something like I wrap paper around the wood to make work that is more in line with what I normally do. But that feels to me like a waste of a wood block. I also put in an interest check application thing for some kind of game. They were looking for artists just to illustrate little achievement cards, like for a video game. And they didn't send me an email saying that I was accepted. So the first email I got was this update email that says, oh my god, here's all this information, here's where you need to go to select your card. Everyone's already selected their card, it has to look a certain way, it's gotta do this, and it's due this specific day. And it's just like, whoa. Like, I didn't even know that I was part of a project. So yesterday I was a little distracted trying to figure out, like, okay, what am I doing? Ooh, I also have not gotten any of the Kickstarter stuff yet. The Kickstarter backers have gotten theirs, and the other half has been demolished by the printing company. And so they've been, for like the past 3 months or so, trying to get that rectified and fixed and mailed out. And I guess I was one of the ones who did not receive anything because it was trashed. So yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to send the original like commission artworks out separately because I feel like if I had to hold on to those artworks for 2 years, I would be so nervous and sad and anxious. Whatever, I just can't wait. I can't wait. Can't wait for mail. Stuff. Doing. Happening. Look what arrived today. It's afternoon and we did the YouTube spicy noodle challenge for lunch. My stomach is hurting. It was really delicious though. So these are the pages I was going to make copies of the little zine. Ooh, look at that. I super hope that this venture was worth it. It was a little bit more fussy this year. I usually don't get such scrutiny at customs, but that's just how it works, baby. Can't complain. I guess I was nervous because some of these were done, I photographed instead of scanned them because my scanner died. This looks pretty decent, actually. Ooh, look at that glare. That was a photograph too. It's fine. It's okay. I think I photographed this one too, actually. Yep. This is gonna be so fun to put together. So last night I was able to make one calendar and a few of these zines, or art books, I guess. So the sample one, and just to get the feel of this ridiculous binding situation that I set up for myself to make the inside pages work. A couple of things that I didn't really like about the printing process, and that is, you know how I had my pages printed 2 on a page. But I think they were misaligned, and it could have been me, but printing, it isn't really perfect, so it's possible that it could have just been printed slightly misaligned. So that means that some of the pages, it's not a huge deal to me. It's definitely got a more handmade look to it that way, and so I'm totally fine with that. The binding worked out just fine. Things line up okay. The pages went in exactly the right order. Everything is great. It just means that I do have to do a little bit of trimming around because that means the cover is much smaller, knowing that I had to have a fatter spine than just folding in half. Another thing that I didn't like, which is nobody's fault. When you fold cardstock, the laser print on the edge does crack a bit. The scrapbooking community online really came to the rescue by sharing a method of lightly scoring with a tool that is not actually sharp before folding it, and that actually made a huge difference. It's not super perfect, but it is actually quite effective, so I'm really happy with that. But it is a little bit of finagling, working out, and a lot of actual physical work to do. I only have 5 done, and that's kind of the thing about passion projects, right? We all want to make cool things and potentially sell them, and a lot of people say, even I have mentioned it before, you shouldn't make prints and merch if you don't have a gigantic audience, which I think is why people obsess with growing their audience, because it's expensive to set up. One thing that I did learn from the other little tiny booklet that I made that was only a few pages, I think it was 8 pages, and this has got to be 48 or something like that. It's quite a lot. The thing with that booklet, I did actually sell out of them. I only made 15 or 20 copies, and it did take 4 years to sell. They did eventually go. It just takes longer, and it feels like you've failed and wasted it, but the truth is a lot of us just stop trying to sell them. It wasn't until I started talking about people buying them that I sold the last 4 in 1 month or something like that. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just naive, but I feel unlike the calendars, the calendars definitely have a sell-by date, but these ones
these ones do not. So I just really wanted to make these because I knew that they would look really neat